Hello everyone, McGee here with another draft battle analysis video and recap, this time looking at my semifinals match in the PGF against Board and his Scrooge McDucklets. As a bit of recap, I was able to finish this season at 10-1 with a really strong differential. It was able to secure me the first overall seed, which netted me a round one bye or a bye from the quarterfinals, and Board was able to win his quarterfinals match, and as the lowest seed, he played me in the semifinals match. So I'm looking to get a really needed win here to advance to the finals. I have a really rough record with semifinals performances. I've made quite a few and lost pretty much all of them. So I don't enter this match with a lot of confidence just because my record has not been great in the past, but I'm trying to get past that and have a good showing and make a finals appearance. But before we get into that match, we're going to take a look at the team he had available to him and the pieces I brought to best address this. And as a reminder, we did in fact play in the regular season. I was able to secure a pretty solid win off of a really strong performance from Umbreon, managing both of his Latios and his Mega Aerodactyl last time we played. But let's take a look at his team and see what he has available and what changes he might have made. So the Mega Aerodactyl is his primary offensive piece, really great breaker, really hard for me to deal with. Just really threatened by its breaking potential, especially if it gets a Dragon Dance or a Hone Claws in there. Latios, not super scared of it. It can't hit Mega Mawile for good stab. It can't hit Umbreon for any good damage at all, so it just really struggles in that matchup. I'm wary of a trick set. He tried doing a setup weakness policy set last time, and then Umbreon was able to check that because weakness policy also gives it an attack boost, and so Foul Play just did massive amounts of damage. So I don't expect that exact set to show up this time. Ferrothorn, not super scared of it. It didn't run Akaberry last time, so I expect Akaberry this time because Fire Fang was able to one-hit KO it as a result. Cinderace, really scary, threatens to spin back any hazards, has good momentum. I don't like its speed tier. It makes it really problematic for the Greninja, who still outspeeds it, but can really bait Cinderace into running some Scarf sets, which are not what I want to see. Jellicent, which I think has a really great matchup against my team, especially the Mega Mawile. You give it a Colbur Berry with Will-O-Wisp, and it can really shut down a Mega Mawile. Sylveon outsped me last time. I tried creeping for it, was unsuccessful, so I'm wary it could be a problem in this matchup as well. Regieleki doesn't really do all that much against me. Doesn't have a great way to deal with the Landorus. Kind of relies on like Specs Ancient Power as a way to try to push past it, but it's not going to be very easy for him. It did nothing in our last matchup. It was very ineffective, so I'm not sure if it'll come back this time. The Mudsdale, really hard to break piece, makes it hard on both Landorus and my Mega Mawile to push through it, so I'm really wary of its stonewalling potential. Skuntank, Hitmonchan, not worried about either of them too much. And then at the very bottom, which is a little hidden, there is a Linoon. I'm not super scared of it just because it struggles to break through a couple of things, even if it gets the belly drum going. So as long as I'm not too passive and my team really isn't, there isn't really a window for Linoon to belly drum, then it's just not really a major concern for me, but something I'm aware of just in case it shows up. So with that in mind, we'll get to the team I brought to address it. I didn't opt for any changes in the Mons I brought. These are the same 6 I brought to our first matchup. I did make some adjustments to some of their EVs and move pools, but these Mons are overall the same and trying to perform similar functions. I just did not see any piece that had a better window to be effective this time. As much as I would have loved to bring Regidrago, his Sylveon is just such a good bring for him, and I didn't expect to get a great opportunity to do anything with Regidrago, so I didn't want to change that, and I didn't see any other Mons that really offered a lot in this matchup. But the Mega Mawile, really doing the same things again. Iron Head is a great stab. Fire Fang for the Ferrothorn specifically. Knockoff to take away items because I need to check a couple of those. And then Sucker Punch helps me deal with any sort of sweeping Latios or sweeping Mega Aerodactyl sets to handle them if their HP is low. More speed this time than last time. I got outsped by the Sylveon. I'm aware that the Jellicent could show up and run some speed to try to creep Mega Mawile as well, and so I want to be able to try to creep past both of those, so I just opt for more speed EVs. Nothing particularly specific. I did account for base 60 speed last time with my last creep, which was unsuccessful, so I just go for more and hope that I out creep their creep. The Landers, opting for a bulkier set this time overall. A little more HP investment, a little more defense investment, a little more special defense investment, and then the speed at 277 is, I believe, to get past the Skuntank, who I didn't want to be slower than. So that's kind of where I'm going with that setup. And then Earthquake, U-turn, Stone Edge, pretty good stab overall, hits most things pretty hard. And then Stealth Rock, just because his hazard control is not very great. Mega Aerodactyl is going to take that rocks damage. Cinderace can spin it back, so I'm wary of that. And then Regieleki can spin, rapid spin it, as can Skuntank and Hitmonchan, but none of these things have an easy time doing what they want to do to clear hazards, so I see a good window if I can get these hazards up this game. Rotom Wash, I believe pretty much the same set last time. I think I give it a little more defense investment, but nothing major. Leftovers, Defog, Volt Switch, Hydro Pump, Toxic. So either Momentum or Status for most things, and then Hydro Pump in case I need it for the Mudsdale. Greninja, pretty much the exact same stat as last time. His speed investment is there to get past max speed Cinderace. But the big change I do here is I believe I pull Ice Beam and add Water Shuriken to this matchup. The main reason I saw that as a value is I got past the Mega Aerodactyl last time on Umbreon play, but I'm worried it may not be as effective this time, and so having a priority move could be helpful. Same for Regieleki once it's chipped down. Same for a Cinderace in case a Scarf set shows up. So I just want to have a good way to deal with those while having a priority access move. And so I felt Water Shuriken had good usage in this matchup. Entei, the exact same set as last time. I thought it was effective. I thought I misplayed the Entei by letting him get sacked early, so I'm trying to be better about that in this matchup. Sacred Fire to get some burns on things, really deal with Ferrothorn well. Stone Edge pretty specifically for the Mega Aerodactyl as well as the Cinderace to a degree. Crunch just as good coverage, and especially for the Latios. And then Extreme Speed just as a good cleanup option, especially on chipped down things. Can help me deal with the Regieleki. That might be trouble in the back end. And then finally, the Umbreon, same EV spread as last time because that's the best way to deal with the Latios while also still having some good defensive bulk. So I can handle Specs, Draco Meteor, and then get my health back with Wish while it's forced out. And then have some good defensive bulk to play with as well. So Wish Protect, Foul Play, Baton Pass. I can't afford to be too passive, so I want to make sure I can pivot out so I'm not sitting in front of a Ferrothorn, for instance. But that's a team. That's what I'm going for in this matchup. Pretty much the same standard, pretty much the same goals as last time. Trying to get more utility out of Entei and Greninja, who didn't really have a huge role last time. Umbreon ended up doing a lot of work, as did Mega Mawile. So trying to get more out of my Choice Locked Mons in this matchup. So we will dive into it. I'm going to put it on normal speed for now, and we'll take it turn by turn. So looking at this matchup, the only change he's made to his team is he's replaced the Cinderace. He's put the Cinderace in instead of the Regieleki, which I think is the right call. Regieleki was entirely ineffective last time, and I think Cinderace has far more potential to be effective in a matchup like this. Obviously, it's going to struggle to get past Rotom Wash, but I'm very aware that it's the major change he's made. And then we get into turn one. He leads the Cinderace. I lead the Greninja. Cinderace lead, especially when I've led Scarf, Landorus, and Scarf Mons in general a lot this season, is that I suspect this could be a Scarf Cinderace, and I don't want to take any turn one chances with my Greninja. So I want to be really, really cautious about that. I figure there's a reasonable chance he U-turns. I think my safer play was to go into the Landorus here. I'm going to go into the Rotom Wash to scout. It stays in at high jump kicks. Tells me outright that that's Scarf because it doesn't naturally outspeed. It would be one hit KO'd by Scald. So that just confirms to me that that is a Scarf Cinderace. There's no other reason it should have done what it did right there, which is really good information for me to have. Kind of tells me what I'm working with in this matchup. And it's going to force the Cinderace out here because it can't one hit KO, or it can't KO from this range with high jump kick, and it doesn't want to take the Hydro Pump because it'll be one hit KO. It forces Latios in. I'm going to Volt Switch. I'm going to go straight into the Mawile here. Even if it specs Mystical Fire, I'm going to survive the attack, I believe. And this Latios isn't in a good spot to want to be KO'd this early in the game. And I can always get my Mega Mawile's health back with some Wish support from the Umbreon. So I figure it's worth the risk early game here. to just start spamming knockoff and see what this Latios does. It's going to try and sub on me, which I don't sucker punch this time. Big thing from our last matchup that ended up causing me a lot of trouble is I tried sucker punching the Latios a couple of times, and it, I believe, either roosted or subbed in that scenario, and so he was able to get some momentum and scare out my Mawile. This time I go straight for knockoff, don't have to worry about priority. Pays off, costs Latios some health, tells me it's not a leftovers, which is surprising for a subset. Makes me somewhat concerned. It could be a weakness policy again or something like that. So I need to be a little cautious of that going into the game, or into the rest of the game. Ferrothorn comes in, and then I get a free knockoff on this switch in. Big thing here is he did make the adjustment from last time. He decided to put an Akaberry on it. Unfortunately for him, I had knocked off the Akaberry, put him in very easy Fire Fang range, and so it's just a really good window for me to be in. I'm in a conundrum here on what I can do. I can go for the Fire Fang, but if he calls that, he has a lot of safe switch-ins on Fire Fang. Pretty much everything except for Sylveon comes in pretty nicely on Fire Fang. Mudsdale's going to take the damage fine. Cinderace is going to take the damage fine. Latios is going to take the damage fine, as is Mega Aerodactyl. So if he decides to switch on a Fire Fang, I'm not in a good spot. If I knock off, nothing comes in nicely on that knockoff. You know, Sylveon's the best thing that comes in on it, but then I have a free Iron Head window, so it's really a predict game on this turn to try to guess what he's going to do. I'm going to opt for Fire Fang just to try to adjust the Ferrothorn. I was successful in that call. Ferrothorn is out of play early. Really big turn for me, just because I don't have a lot of pieces to break Ferrothorn with. The only fire attacks I have are on the Mega Mawile and the Entei, so just having that out of play early frees up my gameplay, lets me be a little more aggressive with some of my pieces because I don't need to rely on their breaking ability for that Ferrothorn late game. And so Ferrothorn's out of play. Cinderace comes back in. I know it's Scarf Cinderace. I know it has Powerball access. I debated going in between. I thought he would U-turn here just to try to bait me out, and so I wanted to take minimal amounts of damage because Rotom would take more damage from the U-turn. He does go for the Pyro Ball here, though, which is fine. I have the bulk to take it. I know I scare him out. And the big thing about this early confirmation that it's Scarf is that I know it probably doesn't have Court Change. And I don't see where he's going to run Defog on this team at this point because the Latios is a subset, which just means it doesn't have a great amount of move slots left to run for something like Defog. Mega Aerodactyl pretty much never wants to run Defog. So I see a really, really good window to put Stealth Rocks up because Cinderace is going to take the 25% chip. Aerodactyl is going to take the 25% chip. Latios and Sylveon are taking some unwanted chip, and then pretty much only the Mudsdale can switch around freely on those. So it's just a really good turn for me to put Stealth Rocks up. Helps my game out a lot. The Latios goes for a sub. I'm back with Umbreon. I'm in a foul play here. I didn't really have a good window to do anything with, so I could have brought my Greninja in on the expected sub there again, but the issue I run into is I don't want Greninja taking unnecessary damage because really his only answer left for Greninja is going to be the Sylveon. Nothing else wants to deal with it. So if I can address Sylveon, and it's pretty easy to do because I can bait Sylveon in and U-turn into Mega Mawile, and now he's taking an Iron Head he doesn't want. So there's a lot I can do with this Greninja, and I want to be cautious with it. So I'm more willing to play around with my Umbreon. And Draco Meteors, which is actually really bad for me. It breaks my Umbreon pretty badly to the point that Mega Aerodactyl's in a really good spot to clean it up, which is dangerous for me. Cinderace comes in. Like I thought, it is definitely a Scarf. It's not Boots. I'm going to Protect Scout here just to scout the move and get my health back in general, so it's a win-win for me. U-turn comes out in play. I get my health up a little more. I'm going to go into the Landorus because that's going to take the least amount of chip from the U-turn. And he has the least amount of good switch-ins for it. Aerodactyl's going to come in. I know Aerodactyl has Ice Fang. I know it ran it last time, but I'm going to be cautious here. It goes for dual Wing Beat. Rotom takes that fine. What I think I should have done here, and I don't, I think this is somewhat of a mistake, is I should just toss my Umbreon at this point in the game. It's not going to be effective in handling this Mega Aerodactyl. It's not with the amount of health left to be effective. And it doesn't have the move pool to really deal with Sylveon or Mudsdale that well. So I should just be throwing this away because I put my Rotom in range now for the Stone Edge to KO, which is a huge mistake on my part. Shouldn't be doing that. And so the Stone Edge comes into play. Stone Edge hits. Stone Edge KOs Rotom. Really unfortunate misplay by me. I come in with the Landorus to try to scare it out with the Intimidate. Unfortunately, it decides to stay in, and it decides to click Ice Fang, which will KO me. Really unfortunate there, because now I've lost 2 pieces in a row to this. Not the spot I wanted to be in. I bring Greninja in just because I know it can't one-hit KO me at this point with -1, unless it hits a Stone Edge crit. Obviously, that would KO. But this generates the exchange I wanted to create, which is I bait in Sylveon because I am usually a special set if you're running Greninja. And then because Sylveon comes in at it, I can get a predictive U-turn on the Sylveon. Nice little crit there for all that's worth. And they get Mega Mawile on the field for free. As long as this isn't like a max speed Sylveon or a really speedy Sylveon, I'm in a really good spot to outspeed it and just pressure really hard with Iron Head. Leftovers confirms it's not Berry. And so Ironhead gets a really easy KO. So at this point, it's not clear to my opponent yet, but it's very clear to me is Greninja just wins this game pretty much with Water Shuriken. I need to scald this Mudsdale because I don't know if the Water Shuriken reliably KOs, and I don't want to give its body press extra strength if I don't KO with Water Shuriken because each hit's going to bring up the stamina or activate the stamina, which increases the defense, which makes body press more powerful. So I just need to be cautious around that. But I'm going to throw away what I should have done earlier. I'm going to throw away my Umbreon now to create a free window for my my Greninja to hit the field safely. I see that it's leftovers, which is important. I wasn't sure if it would be like a Pasho Berry or an Assault Vest set, something to deal with Greninja a little bit. But because it's leftovers, I know it can't handle a Specs Scald. I know that's just going to be too much damage output for it. So I'm just going to start spamming Scald here. It can protect Scout all at once. It doesn't have a way to deal with that. Scald's going to KO something here. He opts to sack the Mudsdale. At this point, like I said, I pretty much win with Greninja. There's no reason to do anything with Greninja there. I know this is Scarf. I'm going to lose Greninja to a high jump kick. So I'm just going to bring Entei in. Let Entei take the high jump kick because I don't care. I'm going to extreme speed here. So the one thing that is of small amounts of concern is I don't know what the fourth move slot is yet for the Aerodactyl. And so I need to be a little cautious around that. But I don't see a fourth move that scares me. So in this scenario, I'm at extreme speed because I just want to get my Entei killed so I can come in with the Greninja and click Water Shuriken. Obviously, there's some concern if they make Aerodactyls like, say, a subset or a Roost, something like that to deal with me. But if it's any move besides Earthquake, then my Mega Mawile comes in at the end and just clicks Iron Head and KOs it because it needs that Earthquake to KO Mega Mawile. It resists all three of those attacks. So no matter what that fourth move is, I just don't see it being any way helpful to him winning this game. If it's a setup set, it's going to. If it's a Dragon Dance set, I don't care. My Water Shuriken will deal with that. If it's a Roost set, my Mawile just clicks Iron Head for free. If it's an Earthquake set, then I am fine to click Sucker Punch with the Mawile, even if my Water Shuriken for some reason didn't KO the Aerodactyl. So I'm really in a win-win-win spot. There's really nothing he can do to stop this win for me unless I misplay. But I'm in extreme speed here because that's the safe thing to do. I get a low roll from the high jump kick, so my extreme speed gets the KO. Aerodactyl's going to come back in. I'm going to click extreme speed again because I'm just trying to get myself KO'd and scout this last move if I can, which is Earthquake. Fine and dandy with me. Means that as long as I come with Greninja and click Water Shuriken, I win this game. Even if for some reason I low roll really badly and only get 2 hits with the Water Shuriken, and this has a surprising amount of bulk to it, it can't stop Sucker Punch from finishing it off. It's going to be so low in health that Sucker Punch is going to KO it and only has attacking moves. So Sucker Punch always will clean this up. So I'm really not worried here. I'm going to click Water Shuriken. It does 21%, which is just enough to know that it's going to win the game. But I was fine to win no matter what. This Mega Mawile was going to come in and close out that game as soon as I saw that it was Earthquake. So really big win for me. It gets me to the finals, which is a rare achievement for me. I have a very, very poor record at making the finals. Really good at making playoffs, really good at making the #1 overall seed, really bad at making finals. So this was a good moral victory for me. It puts me in a rematch with Luke Time and his final Flareons, which was a team I played early-ish in the season, I believe week 6. I was able to secure that win off of some strong Rotom play, just him being a menace, and then the Pangoro not being a mold breaker set, which would have dealt with the Rotom really well. So I look forward to that rematch. It should be a good time. He was the number 2 seed, so the number 1 and number 2 seed both make finals. So it should be an interesting showdown. I expect he's going to make some interesting changes to his team, which will benefit him and make it really hard for me. But I'm looking forward to the opportunity to try and secure my first draft league championship. Really happy with the performance here. I don't ever expect finals matches to be strong wins. You know, you're just looking for a 2-0 or a 3-0 or a 1-0. But a win's a win. I'm happy I got it. I move on to the finals, and I'm hoping the next video I do for this series is going to be my championship win, but we will be back with the results regardless, so stay tuned.